You coming with that swoop, swap, breathing exercise this morning?
I hope you can lead that breathing exercise before we begin.
The pressure. Okay. Hi, good morning, everyone. Happy Tuesday. We are back live and in high demand, so I'm understanding. Wah, wah. Boss wants us to start out with a breathing exercise because we just have an unbalanced, off balance
Morning.
giddy down today. So I'm trying to be politically all the way correct around. So yes. You ready, boss?
I'm ready.
Are you gonna lead it? No, I'm leading it.
You lead it. I'll be the individual that's just gonna follow suit.
Okay.
And do it.
Okay, perfect.
Okay. Just tell me what to do.
Okay, I sure will. So usually whenever we go into spaces and we're talking about being trauma informed, we definitely always want to, have a grounding exercise or a grounding technique. It allows us to be present. It allows us to get connected with our spirit, with our inner being, and it also brings in peace. And so whenever I do the breathing exercise, I always like to bring in, we're going to inhale peace and we're going to exhale anxiety. We're going to inhale peace and we're going to exhale anxiety. And so what we'll do is we'll do the count. We'll do 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we'll hold for 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we'll exhale for 1, 2, 3, 4, and we'll do it 3 different times. Okay, you ready, boss?
I'm ready.
All right, awesome. Okay, inhale, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, exhale, 2, 3, 4, inhale, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, exhale, 2, 3, 4, and we'll do one last round just to get rid of any anxiety that's left over. And now we're going to hold it for 5. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, hold, 2, 3, 4, 5, release, 2, 3, 4, 5. Bye, anxiety. See you later.
See ya. Wouldn't want to be ya.
All right, perfect. So here we are. We are very much present. We are very much here, and we are in love with you all. We're happy to be back. Definitely. It's been definitely a flood of a lot of different things. My name is Niki Martinez. My pronouns are she, her, we, and this is Victorious Voices. This is Reentry National Awareness Month. Did you know that?
I did.
Good. I'm glad.
I didn't know about the specific month, but I seen some posts on LinkedIn and second chance for reentry population. Yeah. So I kind of put 2 and 2 together that's what this is.
Yeah. And who are you?
My name is Arthur Sorianos. My pronouns are he, him, his. Victorious Voices.
And you're also reentry, huh?
What? I'm reentry? What? I did 23 years in incarceration.
Are you part of the reentry process? What?
How are you reentry?
Maybe. I think so.
You think so?
I'm still going through the process, actually.
And how many times? How much time did you do?
25 years.
Oh yeah, you're reentry. Yeah, you're definitely reentry.
Yes, definitely. So I want to start out with something I found that was kind of interesting this morning. So I didn't know how this ended up coming about. Was the reentry month ended up coming about last year, actually. So in April 2021, they declared the month of April to be the second chance month, right? And it said, and this I thought this was pretty deep, and it was pretty profound. And if we could get it as a national stamp on everything and anybody and all organizations and entities and beings, that would be great. America's criminal justice system must offer meaningful opportunities for redemption and rehabilitation. After incarceration, individuals serve their time. They should have the opportunity to fully reintegrate into society. It benefits not just those individuals, but all of society, and it's the best strategy to reduce recidivism. It's that. That's what it is. That's key. That's the element, and that's what was signed in last year in April in 2021. And it's like that's a really strong it intro into what it is that should be happening.
Well, so let's do a check-in on a reentry perspective.
Oh,
Like reentry perspective.
okay.
Niki, with your time in incarceration and all the different emotions and everything that you went through and you worked through to get to where you're at, how could you describe that in feelings and process?
So, a lot of anxiety, a lot of feelings of inadequacy, a lot of feelings of fear, and feeling a confusion of being so powerless for so long. And then now having to automatically go independent and figure out having power over things, but not having the knowledge of what that's supposed to look like. I don't know if that makes sense. There was so, I mean, everything was done and dictated for me inside, and then you have to come home and you have to be a real life grown up. And for somebody that didn't know, there were certain things that I didn't even know that I had to do. That if I didn't do when I came home, were like illegal or something. Like driving the car without insurance. I mean, I know you have to have insurance. I didn't know it was like legit illegal, like not to drink. There was just like little things where I just never had those life experiences, but the integrating back into society. And even now, like when I think about my process, I've been home 3 years, and I think there was always this thing with individuals that because I was so eager to learn and I was so eager to do more. um I think people always had an automatic inclination that I knew more than what I did, and they would have that expectation that I knew what was going on, and then I didn't know what was going on, and then I would feel like, and then I would get shamed for not knowing what was going on, and that was always the thing that would bother me. Like, how do you not know that, or why didn't you YouTube it, or how come you didn't Google it? And it's just like I never in my life had ever used Google. So it's just like it was those things that just created something inside of me, and I can't describe it, but definitely the feelings of fear, of going from powerless to a high demand of responsibility, and independence, and not knowing what that looked like for me. And then the acclimation part. It wasn't the people acclimation part. It was just like family acclimation, society acclimation. Like there's a lot of acclimations that have to happen while we're transitioning, and they're all getting compounded at once. And there's that expectation that all that needs to be taken on, explored, and understood and known. And I was even with my family this weekend, and I was just like, there's something I don't know what the social etiquette norm is, because I've been living with strangers for 25 freaking years. So what does that look like, when you're in your family's house, and they're doing stuff? It's like, okay, what do I do? Do I not do, like, over wanting to respect people's boundaries, not wanting to overstep your own, you know what I mean? Like, that's anxiety inducing. Yeah, so it's been crazy.
Well, from my perspective, like feeling wise, all the contributing factors that I was a part of, all the trauma, the system induced trauma that I experienced, inhumane isolation, torture, no resources, no programming, no ways to heal from my trauma, but just in an environment where I felt the anxiety on a daily
Yeah.
basis, hour basis, minute basis, lunch basis, dinner basis, walking to the chow hall basis. Like it was just a constant feel of anxiety.
Yeah.
And also having all these big feelings that I wasn't dealing with, which was fear, being afraid, angry, resentment, bored, wanting a way out of that process. right? And for me, that was drugs in there. Like that was a way for me to cope with my process. Since I wasn't able to connect with these feelings and understand how to mature from these feelings, I would lead to drugs. So that was my process. Mm-hmm. So I don't think we're wrong when you say that. I don't know.
But you should see the people's looks on their faces when I say I don't know what that means or I don't know what that is.
Because it was a survival.
Yes. And that's what I was trying to explain to somebody the other day. I said, you have to understand, like living inside of a prison, you're high functioning, over hyperstimulant, hypersensitive to noise, sound, movement, everything. And you're living in that hypervigilant state 24/7. 24/7 you live with that,
Wow. I just, as you're saying that, like I was in a lot of hold time. I was in a lot of shoot time. So I was isolated. Mm-hmm. Even when I was like out there on the main line, but more like when I was in segregated housing units, like I could hear the keys from the officers, like, ting, 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 ting. I knew they were coming. Like I could hear doors like rack, mm-hmm. right? Mm-hmm. I could hear the child cards come in. So I had a sense, like all I needed was my ears to hear and listen and to see what was going on, mm-hmm. to survive, and also to be extremely strategic and focused and watching my back and my surroundings. So that's a gift.
Yes, it is.
That's a gift. That's a gift. Because like I tell everybody else, like, what is the feeling of being inside of a cell? Put yourself in a restroom for 23 hours, come to a little 6x6 yard concrete, and then go back in the cell and try that out on a daily basis.
But while you're out there in that cell, imagine that somebody has gone into that bathroom, destroyed it, took all your toilet paper, took all your toothbrush, took any little extra, a sock, left you with one. Like that's the type of stuff that we would be subjected to constantly, craziness.
Yeah, and we're still going through our process.
Man.
Like, yes, we're doing great work. We're working with participants with the reentry process, offering case management, mentorship, evidence-based curriculum, seeking safety, parents on a mission, working with our reentry population, building relationships, and we stay in our lane. That's what we do because we're able to connect through our lived experience. But there's these stages, the pre-contemplation, the contemplation, the pre-contemplation, not knowing, like, you know what, I don't want to change. The contemplation, like making okay, I'm going to get this going to the point where it's the maintenance. And the maintenance is the powerful point. That's what we're doing on a consistent basis, mm-hmm. the maintenance component. Because all these different traumas has an effect.
Yes.
And so I'm going to share a little narrative. I go to the county jail, George Bailey, on Friday. I'm a gang expert in the courts. So I visit individuals in George Bailey, the county jail, East Mesa, juvenile hall, helping our population, doing everything in our power to help bring them resources, being in support with the lawyers, the defense. So I go to George Bailey and I forget my admittance slip. An admittance slip is the lawyers, the public defender's office, letting me know that here, you're allowed to be in George Bailey into the institution. Okay? I forgot that. So when I get in there, they were supposed to put it on file last week because I brought the admittance letters. Hey, put this on file. So next time I don't have to bring them. So they were like, no, we don't have it on file. So I was persistent, like, hey, well, I need to visit this individual. It's important. And so I was persistent in the process, but I didn't have the letter with me. It wasn't in the file. So they ran a background check on me. Once they ran a background check on me, my record came up of 10 years ago. All of a sudden, all the work that I've done in the community, everything that I'm part of, all that went away. 3 sheriffs, they came to me. When they came to me, hey, you got a record? You have an ID? Like, what's your status? They start questioning me. So I start feeling like, okay, something's up here. So fear began to take over, like, okay, what's going on? They pulled me to the outside parking lot. Once they pulled me out to the outside parking lot, they had dogs. And then they were like, do you mind if we search your car? And I was like, whoa, right? Now I'm starting to feel that system induced trauma. Like it's at high alert. And I was like, you know what? They were asking me, do you have drugs? Do you have like heroin, crystal? And I was like, no, I don't. By the way, go ahead, put that dog in my car. See that baby seat? That's my son's baby seat. So it went in there, and now I have 15 surrounding me. So I felt trapped. I felt that system-induced trauma. Yes, I didn't bring my admittance letter. That was my bad for not doing that. But at the same time, I shouldn't have been in a position where I felt anxiety, I felt fear, I felt alone. I didn't know, like, I was like, wow, like, man, they might set me up.
Yep.
That was going through my head. One of the officers says, you got a lot going on. It seems like you've changed. So I stopped them and I was like, no. Not seems, like I have changed. Right. Here's a youth empowerment card for everyone. Here, right here, look me up. It would be an honor for you guys to come to the office so we could collaborate. Because after the process happened, I was like, okay, you guys made me feel like how I felt before. Mm-hmm. Because that was just my way of like letting them know, like a quick little training in their mind, like, look how we might have made this individual feel. I was angry before. I would get angry. I would get discomfortable. I would react. This time I was angry. I was able to conduct myself professionally and they let me go. Yes, for the next time I will bring my admittance letter, but I don't ever want to be able to feel like that again. It's an ugly feeling. Mm-hmm. And our reentry folks, people that have been impacted by the justice system, they go through this process all the time.
All the time.
So I just wanted to share that. I'm not downplaying, criticizing anybody. You know, I collaborate with everyone that wants to build a healthy community. That's how youth empowerment rolls.
Yeah. I was hurt and heartbroken when you told me on Friday. I was furious too, because it was just like it's the racial profiling, it's the stereotyping, it's the automatically, being of color, having a previous record. I'm all about treating people with dignity and respect, and being a humanistic, having a humanistic approach. And I think that was the thing that frustrated me more than anything. It was unnecessary, the abuse of authority, having 15 officers on you. I was so upset and I was just so hurt. And then I thought it goes back to, the mission that we're on, and teaching these systems and organizations and all of these individuals on how to treat people with dignity. And I get it, so with different lines of work, there's different requirements where, you need to have different training and specialized training, but that doesn't give anybody the right to treat somebody any less than a human being in what they are, especially if they're not posing any threat. And I think that was the thing that just sent me spiraling. It's like, it's not like you were doing burpees in the yard or had your, doing it's not like you was doing that. You know what I mean? Like, nah, I'm gonna get in here. I'm gonna see my boy.
I'm trying to get back to doing burpees, man. I don't need, I'm trying to get that back.
You and me both. It was just unnecessary, and it's about the approach, and when things become excessive, that's when things start spiraling. And that's where, that's where the conflict resolution skills could come in, and where they could benefit for conflict resolution skills, de-escalating practices. We can all benefit from learning those types of things, not just them. But
Mhm.
that was the one thing. And it is true. It's, our reentry folks are constantly being, what regardless of what their record is, and regardless of where they're at in society and what it is that they're doing, when we start treating them as such, they begin to act as such. And if we started treating people with a little bit more human dignity, things would be probably ran a lot different. So
So what does it look like? Let's have a discussion about how does it look like for individual reentry, returning citizen coming back into the community. How that support, how should that look for him or her?
well, let me ask you this. So where was the one place that you found the high support, and where was the, or not even where, right? Because I don't want to start name drop, because I'll name drop real quick, but I don't want to. Where's the one place when you came home you felt this was the most supportive, this was the most prominent, most best thing that helped your reentry process? Because you went back and forth a couple of times, right?
I went back and forth a lot of times.
Okay, so
Yeah.
and then what was the one thing where you're like, dang, they should have stepped up their game. They could have did more, and they didn't. They failed me.
For me, my high support was like always my family,
Mhm.
my wife, my environment. I had a home to come to right away. I didn't have to go into a transition home that most of our reentry participants go through. I was able to have that blessed opportunity. I was able to get a compassionate probation officer,
Yeah.
which was great,
So there it is.
right?
That makes all the difference.
And that compassionate probation officer, like, okay, we got 6 months, 8 months. We put a plan together. I know you're not happy with being mandated to do this program, and this program right now, but look, man, it's 6, 8 months. Let's get this monkey off your back. Let's work this process, get the system off of you after 23 years. For me, that was motivating.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And then high support with mentors at all kinds of different levels.
Yeah.
Like I could name 20 mentors that have been able to step into my life and help me work my process, help me, mentor me, elevate me, keep me motivated, ignite that fire, that passion. For me, that was a process. And fortunately for me, I was able to be in a situation where like my wife worked full time, I worked part time, just getting by, and me being able to work with the community and community therapy.
Yeah.
So that was my process. Now let's say I'm gonna give you an example. Let's say for a participant that doesn't have a compassionate probation officer, doesn't have high support with family, what does that look like for that individual?
Mm, I can think off the top of my head of a couple of people that come to mind, where their probation officer is constantly just poking at them. Poking at them, just being, having unrealistic expectations. I want you to get a job. You have to be there 5 days a week or whatever. But I also want you to do these programs, and you have to go to these groups. These groups are mandatory. Them groups are only available during the day, during their I was going to say during their programming hours, during their work hours. So, just making things extremely challenging for folks. Sometimes it can get very, very deterrent. And then the lack of compassion, right? um in in so many of the different, males, females, and they thems that I talk to, it ends up becoming, it becomes obstacles, and how am I going to do this? Sometimes managing the children, how am I going to be able to go down here? I have no transportation. It's just a lot of obstacles that come into place. And it's like I said, you're trying to fill out the dynamics of so many different things, learning so many different things, putting so many different things into place, you know um but I can think of a couple of people where they had a lot of different challenges. And it does start, I believe that it does start too, kind of with the probation officer, because I remember when I came home too, and I had told the parole officer what I wanted to do, and they were like, no, no, no. And I'm like, why, how would you know me? This is beneficial for me. And they're like, no. And I was just like, I didn't understand it. So they do play a part and a role. And a lot of times our especially our women, They come home, they want to overcompensate for the time that they've been home, so they don't know how to be healthy parents to their children, healthy mothers to their healthy mothers to their children, because they want to make it right and they don't know what making it right looks like, and so they do things that are a little bit different, you know. They also, it's just it's a whole, there's so many different factors, and that's where we have to have the wraparound services. And I think it's just like you said, it's like the mentorship component of it is key, because when I look back at it with my reentry process, it was the lived experience individuals that all had their hands out, and I swear it's like we were all swinging around together singing kumbaya, like making magic happen for, yeah,
Kumbaya.
making magic happen for ourselves, you know. It's like we all had our feet in the water and we were all helping ourselves stay afloat
Yeah.
and get somewhere, you
Yeah.
know.
And like you hit it right on the money. A lot of our folks like unhealthy relationships. Like, look, man, like you ain't gotta come here and have a girlfriend a month out.
Yeah. When I'm enrolling guys in the BSCC program in our border state and community corrections, I'm like, please give yourself a year, bro. Like, don't do that to yourself, because relationships is the number one reason most of the time for recidivism, because we get caught up. We don't know, first of all, we don't know how to identify emotions. We don't know what a healthy relationship looks like if we're fresh out of the system, right? Because we've been in survival mode for our whole lives, or however long it's been. And then we think that we can love and nurture somebody in a way that we think might be healthy. But no, really, we're just looking for instant gratification to fill a void, because we're feeling alone and empty, and something needs to fill this. And so why not find a partner? Right. But it's the most unhealthiest thing you can do. And it's also the most problematic thing you can do, especially if you haven't even had a chance to breathe for yourself yet.
So there's just several contributing factors or reasons why our adult population needs high support and a process that's going to help them keep that maintenance component strong. Yeah. We don't have all the answers, but we could be there and just be a listening ear, mm-hmm, and just be high support for that individual.
And the one thing I just want to say, you know, as we're recognizing this month as reentry, I just ask that everybody, you know, that, you know, maybe has a loved one that disappointed them, maybe failed them, right? Has those strong attachments to the fact that, you know, well, you were gone and you left me and, you know, blah blah blah. I just ask that you function from a place of compassion and understand that, you know, learning something and trying to reintegrate back into society is no easy feat. Already feeling shamed, displaced, being especially Black and brown folks, where we're already just ostracized in it and of itself and not feeling comfortable in certain spaces. You know, I just ask that people just kind of have a little bit of compassion and grace. And, you know, if somebody doesn't know something, offer to help and support that. Don't shame them and make them feel ridiculous for not knowing, you know, what that is. I think that's the biggest thing. And then if you are a returning citizen, we definitely understand that there's so many challenges that come with that, right? And we know that mentorship is key. That's what we do here at Youth Empowerment. We also have Parents on a Mission. We provide, you know, help and support for our families that are learning how to be parents and what healthy parenting may look like. So, you know, we're here with so many different opportunities, but we definitely, you know, resources are key. And I think that's the other thing too, is reentry resources are key. And when you go somewhere, you feel comfortable with what it is that you're doing, and they align with what it is that your goals are. And I think the biggest thing is just don't give up on yourself. Like, that's the last thing you need to do, is allow society and the norms that have given up on you and failed you. Just don't give up on yourself, you know, because we've overcome so much and we've made it this far. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and close out. I just wanted to just encourage everybody that, you know, your life purpose is to use your own personal transformations to help transform society. One mentor by another mentor. And that's what we do. We do some amazing mentorship. And unless there's a personal transformation, there can never be a social transformation. And so, you know, as we're sitting here talking about what other people should do, let's take a look at ourselves and figure out what we can do to make ourselves better in this space, right? So we definitely wanted to share with you all. We have an upcoming our Heal event. It's our fundraiser. It's going to happen on June 4th, 2022. I can't never get them twos right for some reason. Please excuse me. We're going to have our amazing friend and loved one, Chef Jeff. He's going to be there. He's going to be doing some inspirational speaking, getting us pumped, probably getting us to do some burpees before the night's out.
Yeah, for sure.
We'll have a little dancing. We're gonna have food. We're gonna have an amazing time. The tickets are online. Y'all can go to our website, purchase the tickets. It's gonna be an amazing, amazing event. We're gonna have our youth there who are phenomenal. They're making magic happen in this community out here. So, you know, look us up. And then the other thing is too is just if you like what we're doing and you love what we're sharing, just please just share it with your people, share it with your families. Maybe this will help them understand too a little bit more of what's going on. Boss, did you want to say something before we head out?
No, maintenance is key, and we're consistently maintenance on ourselves.
Yes.
Like we're not perfect, yep, right? But we can understand all the contributing factors that make us make decisions, and we could catch these decisions before they're made. Yeah. So love you all. High support. All. We're here. Community. Yes. See you all next Tuesday. Victorious Voices.
Victorious Voices. Be good to yourselves and the people around you.